Hopefully you can hear me. This class for Ignite is on our buyer consultations. So thank you all for joining. Um, this, I will tell you, so I taught this class last time, and I know that there's been a few differences that have happened just because of COVID and things that we're not meeting people right off the bat, or we're not scheduling appointments to see everyone. So I've tweaked it a little bit, and we'll go through the class today. If you have any questions, let me know. But this is kind of going through setting the appointment, what the expectations are. And really, I don't know if any of you, if you are agents, I just have a curious question on how long you've been doing this. How many years do you have in the business? Either one of you available?
1 month.
1 month. Hi, Vanessa.
Hello.
So, okay. So have you been showing any properties as of yet, or talking to potential buyers?
So, as ironic as it is, I do have a meeting with a potential buyer today, this afternoon. So that will be my perfect one to try it, take notes. So I'm really excited about this Ignite today because I think it's just right on time.
Oh, that's great. Good for you. Well, hopefully this will help. I'll give you some nuggets. I'll tell you myself, I've been doing this, let's see, 15 years, 15 years full time, 2 different states, practiced for about 5.5 years in Texas. And then I've been back since 2012. And so I had my Texas license, came back to Ohio, and then had my license since then. And I'll tell you, I've worked for a bigger team. I've been independent. Obviously, I've come back independent, and not that I know everything, but I just think I do. Uh, um, I picked up a few nuggets along the way, and I'm going to go through the class as well because they have a great layout of how this works. But really, there's a couple of things that I do different. You don't have to do it the same, but I'll give you some ideas of what I'm doing as just as an everyday independent agent. So why don't we start off? I am going to flip this back over to our template here. Okay. All right. So with Ignite, what do successful agents do every single day? They work on growing their business. That consists of lead generating for their buyers and their sellers. They make listing presentations and get listings, buyer presentations and get listings, and obviously preview real estate. How you're running your business. Whoops, sorry. How you're running your business, your marketing. Here, bear with me for a second here. There we go. Running your business, you can market your listings, show your buyers houses, negotiate contracts, transaction management to the closings, doing vendor management, setting your goals, your compliance, risk management, attend trainings, get coaching, and manage your money. Obviously, those are tools and things that we are doing every day to make ourselves successful. This is a timeline here that kind of from setting the appointment and then how you're going to get people through. So preparing the buyer presentation, conduct a buyer consultation, recap your ahas and daily success habits. Going into that buyer consultation is what I'm going to give you. So in Command, you have 2 different options that you can build your own presentation. Again, if you're independent agents, you're independent contractors, you can do whatever you want as long as you're abiding by corporate and MLS rules. So branding is important. You cannot make any of your logos. Our logo has to be as big as your name. There's all kinds of little things to do, but I'm going to show you what I did. So I mentioned this last time in the class that I got mine from Etsy. I took just a basic template of theirs, but I've kind of mirrored all of I think marketing is important. So I've tried to streamline any type of marketing that I'm doing with my name, with Keller Williams Capital Partners name on it. I've streamlined it. So this buyer's guide used to be, a version of it used to be what was on top of my paperwork as soon as I sat down and made an appointment. So if I made an appointment with a potential buyer, bring them into the office, and this would be the slideshow or a version of it that I went before I went into the paperwork. So that 20 minutes that I'm going through this buyer consultation, I'm getting them to know me, telling what my past history is, showing these types of things of what I'm doing, where I'm, actually marketing, where they can connect with me, where can they snoop on me. But this kind of gives you a template of, this is completely different than just the standard logo, but this is what I created. I'm now doing something different in light of COVID. I've made an email format. I have a PDF format of this. And if they want to know about me. So before I meet with them, before I even send the paperwork, this is the first email that goes out about me. I know I'm scrolling through. Someone wants a copy. You're available to have it, just email me. But this is going to give you, this gives the buyer kind of a future pacing of what the process is about. So this gives rough ideas of what kind of loans that they can expect. What are the credit scores? When we start talking about these things, this is an idea. Okay. And my typeset is off. Oh my gosh. Well, I got to fix that. This is actually supposed to be up here and this is supposed to be centered, and yeah, you get it. But this gives you an idea. Again, I do not tell them I am here to help them with real estate. I know enough about lending to be dangerous, but this does give them an idea what to expect. This also gives me a great lead in to say, listen, if you're not getting results, a lot of my clients come to me, or pre-clients come to me, they're already pre-approved through another lender. And as you get going, you're going to find out there's some lenders you might not, ideally, they're bad at communication, they're not working with you. So having that relationship with 3 good lenders is ideal. But to give them ideas too on, okay, listen, I've aligned myself with some very good lenders. They're giving fantastic rates right now. One of my things is I say, it's kind of like buying a used car. No two are the same. It's great that you have a pre-approval, but again, in our contracts, we can say, hey, we have up to 5 to 7 days until you have to lock in that one lender. So it's worth, maybe they can give you a better rate. It's worth talking to 1 or 2. That's kind of my spiel on lending. 9 times out of 10, something that simple of a conversation, they will talk to the lender, the 3 lenders that I've given them, at least talk to one of them. 9 times out of 10, if I give one of my preferred lenders an at-bat, typically they get the buyer. That way I can call and I can find out if they're not getting communication to my buyer myself. I can make a call, and it's amazing how much power you have. If you are giving them business, if you expect results, they're going to take your call and they're going to make sure things are correct. So another tip, if you're just starting, that's a great one to do. Types of mortgage loans, I've given a breakdown. Some of this information I got from my lenders. So again, this is data. It's something for them. It shows that you've kind of done your homework, and that they're in good hands. It's really just building that rapport and showing that, you know, you kind of fake it till you make it. If you've done it for a month, no one's ever going to ask you what you got on that test score. They're just going to expect results. So this type of stuff kind of helps future pace as you go. So you'll see, this is kind of the timeline from the time we meet to the time that now we're starting to shop. We've gotten pre-approved, so we're out actually looking at houses. This gives them some ideas, you know, checking the streets, checking the windows and doors, make sure they work properly, evaluate the neighborhood and surrounding areas. Is it conveniently located to schools? Is it the school system that they're looking for, if that's what's important to them? Then it goes into making an offer. This has changed a little bit. Right now, in light of our kind of crazy market that we have, some of this stuff has changed or there's priority put on it. I've been using this template still, but depending on how the market stays and what the trend goes, I mean, I'm giving them a snapshot verbally of what's going in the market, how much over we have to pay. And I'm debating about whether or not putting that in my buyer presentation. I haven't yet, but you know, we'll see how that goes. So I kind of give some ideas, the process. When we make an offer, now that we've created it, you know, what's the process? After you submit an offer, the seller could accept or decline. He could counter. One of them that I haven't put in there that I am going to update is saying that they could announce multiple offers, highest and best. I'm going to put another line in that says that. You know, but this kind of breaks it down on what our process is, which obviously our landscape is changing a lot. So these are things, it's a growing thing. So I'm gonna be putting that in, and this is a workable template, I guess is what I'm saying. So the more you're up to date on that, the more your buyer's gonna feel secure that you've got this handled. Okay, so once you're in contract, then it goes into the escrow period. I give timelines and exactly what to expect. Ordering inspection. I put in here negotiate the final offer, because this is like a mini negotiation if we're going after inspections, and that's a big one. A lot of offers that are winning right now are waiving inspections, or hopefully they're not waiving inspections. I try to avoid that, but if you do have an inspection, negotiating on the fact that, you know, you're buying as is for disclosure purposes, but if you're going to win this offer, not asking for remedy is a big deal. When I did this, that wasn't going on right now at that point. Appraisals being ordered. What can a buyer expect from doing that? Well, we're getting a property title search is coming from the title company. The buyer's going to be responsible for setting up their homeowner's insurance. That is not something we need, but the lender's going to want that information. So just reminding them, it does say in the contract that they need to get that homeowner's insurance taken care of prior to closing. Having a reminder or putting it on a transaction timeline for them. They do not, again, we don't need to be supplied that, but
Hello.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm happy now.
letting them know that is important too. Okay, so the last part of this one, I said scheduling your move. Obviously finalizing mortgage, they will be working with the lender on that. Your home inspection has been scheduled, but then I give a timeline. So here's the kind of breakdown of what they can expect, you know, from 4 weeks to the move down to the week prior to the move. And then obviously your closing day. Now, one of the things that, so, you know, closing day, getting the disclosure. Again, buyers are going to get the disclosure 3 days prior to closing. Doing a final walkthrough. Typically, people are putting anywhere from 1 to 2 days prior to closing that they are allotted a time to walk through the property. And then going to the closing table. Your closing costs are obviously 3 days prior. I'm going to change that too. But your closing costs and what you bring to closing is all on there. And then, so for my presentation, I've gone through my reviews, where my reviews are on Zillow. I track these, I copy and paste them. I have a template that obviously you see I put together, but I keep updating that. And then Google reviews are on here as well. So even if so you'll see, I'll give you a perfect example. No matter what, if there is a typo, I might correct a typo if it makes my buyer look bad. But if they, right here. So you see, I spell my first name with an IE. This client spelled it with a Y. Happens all the time. But reason I'm pointing this out is I copy the review word for word. There's a specific reason why I do that. Because I don't want anything taken out of context. I don't want anyone to think that I edited this in anything. I take it verbatim. So if I'm going to create a template, I'm going to show it exactly how it exists. That way there's no discrepancy, not that anyone's going to call me on it, hopefully not, but I do it word for word, even if there's a typo. Or if it's really bad and I would have to edit it, I just probably won't use it. I will also, if I loved the review, but there were some typos, you're comfortable with the client, I've called them before and I've just said, hey, I'm going to update this. I'm going to would you mind if I use this on my template for my review? I noticed a couple of spelling errors. Do you mind if I correct them? And I've sent it before years ago. I've sent them and had them sign off on it, or they'll say, don't worry about it. I'll update it, whatever the case may be. But again, my key is if you do decide to make your own template for reviews, I would copy it word for word. That's about it. So that gives you an idea of what I'm doing. Now, one little side note too, with my buyer presentation, my listing presentation is the same font. It's the same colors. I use the Keller Williams red, but these are, and this gives you another idea. In Command, you can also build these too, but these are my Facebook, Instagram. Again, I'm going after branding. So any type of fonts that I use that I love, I make them the same. I use the same colors. And this gives you just an idea of, I kind of brand myself with these types of colors and fonts. So when you're starting out, this is a great thing to get in a habit of if you can find the same type of stuff, or you're sending out marketing, doing a branding font that you find. If you update one, update them all if you're going to change it. But this kind of, you can get an idea of what my scheme, what my colors are. They see something like this. Eventually, I'm looking at it like they're going to start realizing, oh, wow, that must be something from Darcie without even reading it. But again, the idea with this is just to keep yourself in thought at all times. So any questions? Okay, very good. All right, so I'm going to go back to this. So setting the appointment. We know that Vanessa's already set an appointment, but this will give you an idea here of the lead generation model. So as a solo agent, is anyone on a team, or the agents that are here, are you independent agents right now?
I'm independent.
You're independent.
Mm-hmm.
As am I.
Okay, so Vanessa and Cinnamon I have here, correct?
And Janae.
And Janae. Okay, well, nice to meet you. How long have you been an agent, Janae?
October of 2019.
Okay, very good. All right, so you've earned some chops in this, haven't you? How was 19 and 20 for you?
I mean, not as consistent as I would have liked it. Coming in as a new agent and then March, everything kind of shutting down. It just, for a new agent, I just feel like it was like I already didn't know exactly what I was doing, and that just put another ton of weight on it, not being able to operate as normal.
Sure. So, and I'll tell you, even though I've been doing this for a while, we came in along the same route. So we came in January of 2020, and we were on a big team. And so I was a fish out of water on having to create all of this myself. Where do I get my leads? How do I build this presentation? And when you're so focused to doing your job and not having to think about that, and now you feel wounded, plus you're in a new environment, plus then COVID hits. And I will tell you, the team synergy or the bigger office atmosphere, for me, that is great. Bouncing off ideas with other agents, I've always been accustomed to that. And not being afraid to ask a stupid question, that was huge to me. And not feeling that I had that security anymore, amongst everything else that was happening, was a huge transition. So I can definitely sympathize with you on going, where do I go for this type of information? Or how do I get my bearings? Or how do I get successful? I can speak from my experience. I was very blessed and lucky that I had past clients that I was working. For me, I was marketing to them. I was marketing very heavily to my sphere. I was making big announcements that I made a change. Now, whether or not I have past clients in real estate, for me, I was, prior to that, I sold cars for 18 years. So back when I came over from 15 years prior, we didn't have the internet. So the internet was not something, it was word of mouth. It was picking up the phone. It was going to see past clients or running into them. I was a huge proponent, and I still am, even though I've gotten lazy on it. One of the biggest things that, if I went to the grocery store, if I went down the street to get my car washed, pick up my dry cleaning, I would try to half make myself presentable, and a name tag. Having that name tag, you wouldn't believe how many people ask you about that stupid name tag. I thought it was a bunch of bupkis until I started doing it. I started wearing it all the time about 5 years ago, and constantly. Now, some people say I'm driving in my car all the time and they put the magnetic. Well, I drive like a psychomaniac, and the last person they would ever call, because I probably cut them off. And that's just me being transparent. For me personally, I will never put a magnet on my car. I will never put a personalized plate, and I black out my windows. So, some people, they're good drivers. So that's another tip. If you're not a good driver, don't put it on your car. If you are and you obey the traffic laws, by all means, that's free advertising. And one other thing, I know my accountant told me a couple of years ago, this is where this all came up. He said, why don't you get one of those magnets on your cars? That could be a tax write-off. And I'm like, well, I told him the story and why I wouldn't do it. So there you go. But if you do decide to do something like that, talk to your accountant or who's ever preparing your taxes and see if there is any type of incentives or tax breaks on that kind of stuff. Because I think, granted, I am nowhere near an accountant. I don't even pretend to, but he did at the time. He did tell me there was a portion of my car I could write off for marketing purposes. I don't know if it was gas or car or whatever it was. Maybe it was both, but something to look into if that's something you decide to do. I would stick with the name tag. That has gotten me so much business, and I can attest for, well, and granted, in the last 15 years, I can attest for at least 4 listings and probably 5 buyer clients that I've reached just by going to do my own thing. And I happen to have a good hair day that day, so I throw on my name tag, and people start conversations like that all the time. So, okay, so we know Vanessa has an appointment today. So how do we keep that rolling? Obviously, prospecting, marketing, prospecting. There was an array of things. We're not going to get into all of that. I think that's for another class, but that is a big part of your day, and working those out. Sphere of influence, past clients, whether it's in this market or another, social media, talking to our command system has, I showed you those little templates earlier with my marketing. Now I've been doing that on my Facebook business page. I've been marketing those little things. I put them on an automatic send. They go out through Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, somewhere else. But I put them on automatic feeds. So I took 1 day, 2 hours, I put all my branding on them, and then I shoot them out. They automatically go out. And now a lot of agents look at that kind of stuff. I have agents, co-oping agents. That's where I'm building a lot of repeat and referral business out of state. Another tip, LinkedIn is a great source to work with out-of-state agents. Over the years, I've been building that platform. And you can literally get as many LinkedIn agents on there, start building it, and start saying, Columbus, Ohio, give the market statistics. That's going to go for potential buyers, potential sellers. But I'm marketing too. I use that more of an avenue because I want the agent, out-of-state agent referrals. Even though things are kind of crazy right now, people are reloading to Ohio, to Central Ohio specifically, in droves. There's people moving in and out of here a lot. So having referring agents from those places where they're moving, I would go after New York, California, East Coast and West Coast. Right now, people are defecting like crazy. Taxes are getting high there. It's going to make our taxes look not so bad. But they're moving out. So having those referring agents, saying what you're paying, well, I wouldn't even say it on there, but having kind of a spiel of what you will pay a relocating agent if they give you a buyer referral, having that canned speech is a great idea to do. But I market to them too. So that is not just for getting potentially buyers and sellers. Okay, so prospecting and marketing, leads, having a good tracking system, using the command CRM, it's good. I had to fight my way through it. I didn't like it at first, and now I love it. Now I'm using it all the time. It is a very good way to keep reminders, because the hardest thing for us to do is follow up. The age of technology, a lot of the follow-up, those little breadcrumbs, those 33 touches that we want to get into our buyers, half of them are automated. They're working for us. So getting those, but you have to build the foundation through command. So going to those command classes would be great, because there's a lot of time savers in command that a lot of the work's taken out of it. But having that database built, that's your foundation. Then having the automatic feeders and the templates, and then building your brand and your marketing, that's going to automate through there. A couple of hours of hard work, your business will, then it's streamlined and the consistencies build up. And then you might have forgotten about them, but they feel like they have been touched and you've kept up. I've had people call me before, buyers, I haven't talked to them in 4 months, which is not good. But I'm being totally transparent here. I've kind of forgotten about them. But because I had something that was automating, sending things out, sending content out on the auto, and they're like, Darcie, you have the best follow-up. Go ahead, I'm sorry. Oh, we've got background noise. Okay, so those are some of those things that work really, really well. Just getting your business starting, but put everyone in your command database. You never know the contacts that you hold, potential buyers and sellers that you hold, that once that marketing goes out, it pulls them out of nowhere. Okay, so then obviously, so you have your contacts, you've got your leads, you put them in command, and then you're cultivating them. The brand marketing, the consistency on the follow-up, it's all there. Now, let's say someone reaches out, or let's say they start asking questions. This is going to lead you into the appointment. This is going to then take them now, whatever you're comfortable with. I've been doing a mix of both. For example, yesterday, I'll take this one as an example. So those goofy templates that I was telling you about, and I've got another batch. They're actually running. If you look at my Facebook page, what is it? Darcie Barton. I don't know what it is, but if you look up Darcie Barton, you'll find Keller Williams Capital Partners. You're going to find my business page. Take a look. See some of the kind of crazy marketing I'm doing. Typically, I wouldn't be doing it this way, but I will tell you right now, I'm going for shock and awe, I guess is the best thing. So one of my latest templates was neighbors suck, ? I can help with that. And I just give my name and phone number and then my business logo. I've had so many agents comment on it, but I've had 2 buyer clients call me. And in fact, that's the only reason I bring it up. So with that being said, I had a consultation. The buyer said, in light of COVID, we're first-time home buyers. We don't know how this works with COVID. And I said, it's completely up to you. What are you comfortable with? If we can be masked, we can sit 6 feet apart. And she's like, it doesn't bother me. And I said, okay, great. And I said, well, how about we have a phone consultation? This is all in a text message. How about we have a phone consultation to start? Let's see what your buyer needs are. Let's see if I am the best candidate for you. And she said, great. And we were on the phone for about 45 minutes yesterday. At the same time, I was emailing her, got husband and wife's email, their text. Do they text? Do they prefer text? That type of conversation was had yesterday. I gave them a very generic, rough idea on, do you have a lender? Where are you starting in the process? And they said, we contacted you first. Okay, great. So I told them, so I gave them my 3 lender contacts. I said, I don't care. It makes no difference who you use. I prefer, again, I used the used car can speech and said, it's like buying a used car. Sometimes this program or this lender might be great, but depending on what your structure is in your finances, the other lender can have a better one. So I say a minimum, talk to 2, but don't go over 5 to 6. Okay, great. So I know that that's where they are in the process right now. They told me that, Darcie, after this interview, this is great. It sounds like you really know what you're doing. Fantastic. So for you to go ahead of the pack, I do have a large amount of buyers I'm currently working, but for me to make you priority, you have to retain me as a buyer's agent. And she said, okay, what does that entail? So I gave her verbally what went over the paperwork. I told her the state board forms versus our broker contract. Said it's 6 months to make you priority. So this way, when that perfect property shows up on the market or it's worth a walkthrough, I will put you at the top of the list. They had no problem with it. It was great. So following that conversation, within 20 minutes, I typed up their paperwork and I shot it to their emails and they signed it. So now they've retained me as their buyer's agent. No one else, that gives you a very close snapshot, but that is one option to do instead of meeting face to face. There's going to be other buyers, maybe not first-time home buyers. There could be buyers that have bought 2 or 3 properties before. But let's say they've had a bad experience. They're going to put you through the interview process, which is great. I am not telling anyone to do this. For me, doing this for some time, I can get a pretty good feel. This is going to be at your discretion. But I will tell you, in this market and how volatile it is, going out and seeing anyone without a buyer rep agreement in hand is not always a wise idea. When I first started in the business, if I got a phone call and they would actually talk to me for 10 minutes, they want to go see houses. My husband watched all of this in the background. He's like, "You're off chasing carrots again." Called me a rabbit. He's like, "You're just flying rogue." So my accountability partner was my husband. He was absolutely right. I wouldn't give 1 appointment. I'd give 5 or 6. And guess what? They've been working with an agent, or they didn't realize, they didn't check in, but they told me they didn't sign anything with anyone, but guess what? They sure did. Don't get caught. Don't waste your gas. Gas has gotten very expensive. I gave you one thing to justify why, time is valuable. This market, you need an agent working with you. It's great if other agents have set you up on search feeds, but someone signing a representation agreement, number one, I'm going to put you to the top of the list. I'm going to set appointments for you, but I'm also going to be actively looking. Now, this is another one I use too. I give them a reason why I've aligned myself with the brokerage of Keller Williams Capital Partners. We have over 250 agents in this office, and at least 60% of them are very high volume listing agents. Listings are so valuable right now. And our agents here at this office sign that waiver agreement. So we share upcoming properties before they hit the market. We are allowed to, but it's only within this brokerage. So whether I've seen something or not, I sell that. I sell the reason that I'm here, number one. I sell that we are a power force. That builds credibility, and it builds stability, and it builds that you are the right agent for them. You are the one that they need to be talking with. So selling our brokerage, and the reason for it, because I will tell you, there's a lot of brokerages out there, but they're not typically as big as our office. They are, and a lot of agents, even if they are at big offices, they're not selling that key component. I highly advise talking to, you can talk to me later if you want more information on it, but talk to some of the senior agents around here. Ask them, how do you sell our brokerage? How do you do this with your speech? Talk to 2 or 3 different, and not saying always a canned speech is great. I would form your own, but selling our brokerage, that is a valuable tool that you're missing out on, that you can leverage to help you kind of gain that credibility with other buyers. Okay. Does anyone have any questions? No, I'm just rambling, but is any of that make sense, or questions pertaining to that?
It does. And this is Cinnamon. Did I hear you correctly in saying that you were willing to share your template for the buyer's brochure? Or
Yes. Sure.
Okay. That was the only question that I have. This is great information, actually.
Oh, good. Thank you, Cinnamon. They begged me to do this again because last time I felt like I bombed, and I'm like, well, I don't care. I'll do it if you want me to do it, but I don't like doing it. So if you're getting valuable content, I'm happy. And I think my mouse died. Hold on. Bear with me for a second. There we go. Okay, back up. Okay, so let's see. We know that some of you have had an appointment. We've gone through the breakdown. I'm kind of skipping ahead. Okay, so here is, can everyone see the the screen on there. I hope I've got it still set up. You can tell I have no idea what I'm doing with this thing. Okay. Creating a presentation. I mentioned going through Command. They do have 2 templates. Honestly, you can use this. I'm going to give you a little side note on this too. Etsy has so I found one of my presentations, they're completely editable, but I took actually 2 different presentations of Etsy. They were like $30. If you want to get all the branding and logo, I think the most I've ever spent for stuff like that has been $100. But I kind of built my brand, I morphed it together, but where I morphed it, and this is a side note, you don't have to do this, but I'm obsessed with Canva, and I am not a tech savvy person. Okay. I know enough to kind of get myself by, but Canva's been an absolutely godsend to me. You can do presentations, logos, listing appointments, whatever. I now make signs through Canva. Like if I find, they have all the fonts and 90% of it is free. Now, there is a pro version. I do pay for the pro version. I think it was $100 a year. So for example, like everyone can do differently with their inserts that go into like their listing presentations, for example, or their listing marketing flyers that go into your listings. So if I have a last minute listing and my printers, I can't get to the printer, or they need a 24-hour turn time, I need it that day, or I need extras and I'm in a pinch, I have built my template of exactly how I want that marketing to look. I have it in Canva. So the only thing I have to do is upload my photos. Like it is a godsend. So that's my only shout out that I'm going to give. I love Canva, and it does work great in combination with Command as well. Command's great, don't get me wrong, but you can take a lot of your logo and branding, put it into Command, and you can make a baby out of it. And it could be the Keller Williams baby, I don't know, but the creativity is there for both of them. And I will tell you, it looks like Command has the same type of, I guess, user friendly. It's the same type of software that Command does. So Command and Canva, they must have coincided this because they're very shareable, they're user friendly, and they kind of work on the same platform. So if you learn one, it's going to be very easy and user friendly for you to work on the other. So that's just another shout out. But to start with, a lot of you newer agents, if you have not put that buyer presentation together, this is where you go. Start in Command, make an appointment with our staff, have them help you. But I think it's vital, number one, to have this type of stuff. Before I did this overwhelmed me at first. Okay. I ended up I believe I found it in Command. I might be lying to you, but I found a trifold, and it was a trifold of, here are some title companies, here's some lenders. It was those snapshots that I showed you in my buyer presentation, but it was a handout. So that was the handout. If I was meeting clients on the fly because the houses were coming and going so quickly, I would have a stack of buyer paperwork in my office, and I would stick a trifold. I did it before I had business cards ordered. I made a trifold with my headshot, with my logo. I had to give something. And then I lied. I was a total liar and said, I ran out of business cards and I ordered more. I don't know, fake it till you make it. But that gave them something. I had to give some sort of validity or credibility. So that was something I did. You can find those things either in Command. I know you can find some templates. You just have to build our information. But like, I looked at the presentation through Command, and I took some of the Keller Williams logos and I just downloaded them to Command. So I'm not encouraging that. Someone's probably going to yell at me for saying that. I can just tell you what I did, and no one's told me that it's gross and terrible. So, take it for what it's worth. Okay. Quit rambling and go on to this. Okay. So This is again a buyer guideline of going down this buyer presentation. So this is kind of that table of contents that I showed you on one of mine that I did. Again, great through Command. They have great photos. They've got great little snippets about their dream home. These are all things that you can build into your presentation. Let's see. So build your preference profile. I kind of showed you where in my template, I give a brief synopsis on the second page of how long I've been in the business, what I've been doing. Now, I can tell you, there's some agents, it does not matter whether you've been in the business for 3 months or 30 years. Don't let those agents intimidate you. If anything, they got to be considering maybe getting out of the business because they hate to learn new stuff. You guys are hungry. You're learning the latest stuff that's happening. What I can tell you with that is it's all about transaction experience. I think that is more your validity in the marketplace. I know some agents that have been doing this 25, 30 years, but they've done as many transactions as I did in the first 5 years. Okay, so it really does not matter. So don't let anyone intimidate you when you're talking to a listing agent or a buyer's agent that wants to throw out, I've been doing this for how many years? Makes no difference. You can learn so much from, I can tell you, I learned more about the deals that went weird or south or potentially went south. I learned so much more about this business on the rough ones, the ones that were easy and seamless. So that, again, I'm circling back to this, but that type of stuff, good, bad, and the ugly, you're still building your profile. So talking about the transactions you've gone to or the areas that you've lived in or the marketplace or why you've gone into real estate, your love for staging or your love for design, or you went into architecture and you flunked out. So now you're selling real estate because you still, I don't know, whatever your story is, but those are key components. But them knowing you as a person, as you can see, I think I'm funny. Not everyone else does, but I find myself, humor is kind of my key. Number one, it makes the day go quicker, but I'll put humor in some of the backdrops. I will find humor. It is a key combiner for me, and it's more natural for me to work off of making fun of myself more than anything. But that is part of my profile. I will put it in there. I will tell them those things. So that will help. Then talking to your buyers, again, this is not about us. This is about them. So focusing conversations, buyers love to talk about themselves. They love it. Whether they're complaining, whether they're bragging, doesn't matter. As long as they're talking about themselves, their family, or what they're doing, they love it. Let them talk. Let them talk. Two things are going to happen. Number one, they're going to feel free, and it's amazing. If you make yourself open to talk to them, you are going to get so much valuable information. If you're with a husband-wife team or husband-husband, wife-wife, doesn't matter. If you're with a couple, which predominantly, you're going to find out who's the driver of the bus. The one that sits back and is quiet is not the one that wants to be social. The one that's quiet and sitting in the corner and watching everything, that's your decision maker. So getting them to talk is great. But when you're starting this presentation, you're at the appointment, those are the goals. You want them talking about what is the ideal home? What is your wish list? What are the non-negotiables? What are the, the positives? Love to have a 3-car garage, but it's not a deal killer. Those are things you want to know, and take notes. Don't be afraid to write down in front of them. Take notes. They want to see that you are engaged and you are clear and present in that conversation, because again, you're building rapport that you are the right agent. You are writing down what they're telling. It makes them feel important and valuable, and that you listen. So maybe you're not listening, just writing. Therefore, you can refer to your notes later and they're going to think, oh my gosh, they just hear me. It works, I promise. Okay, so in command, neighborhood insights. This is really cool. I haven't mastered this yet, but this is amazing. Doing those neighborhood snapshots, you can build in command. Number one, you can take a neighborhood. If your buyers are looking, oh, I'd love to live here. You can build that neighborhood within command. And you can give snapshots. It'll give you highlights. It'll tell you how many are selling, how many are active, probably none. It can tell you how many are in contract and what's the average selling price per square foot, those types of things. That is a great thing when they're going to your app, building the neighborhoods that they're looking at within their app to give them that kind of stuff. It's so cool. I haven't been consistent on this, but this is something that is on my goals to get done, is the neighborhood insights. You can also build marketing for that too. If you're kind of targeting or farming a neighborhood, you can do this neighborhood insights. But again, going to the command classes for these types of classes, invaluable. You'll see me there too, because I'll be learning. Okay, let's see. How to buying a home works. Okay, we've kind of already touched on that. Most of this stuff we have touched on, but I am going to hit this. Your affiliated business arrangements. If you're working with Keller Mortgage, or if you are working with an affiliated title, you are going to need that arrangement disclosure signed. So that should be a part of your paperwork. So make sure that you are reviewing. If you are starting out, talk to someone. I don't know if you're working with Josh, but Josh is a great one to find out prior to going on. I think Vanessa, correct, I think was going on that buyer's appointment. I would talk to him, find out, verify the paperwork that you're taking to that appointment before you head out. Would be very, very wise. Okay, so this kind of gives our value proposition. So this is for win-win, integrity, customers, commitment, communication, creativity, teamwork, trust, and success. That is our value proposition for Keller Williams, all of Keller Williams. So that'd be a great one to put in the slideshow. That would be a really good nugget to put in your buyer presentation when you're going through the brokerage. Let's see. I think most of this, so these are all the things that we've done. Okay, I think we're kind of wrapping up. Here's the app that we talked about. Has everyone, if you haven't set this app up, make sure that you get set up. Talk to either Josh or talk to the marketing department about making sure you have this up, but go to these command classes to set these things up because they are very, very cool. Let's see, any questions? Yes, no, indifferent? Well, I think pretty much we have gone through everything. Takeaways, get in with command and connect. If you have not mastered some of this stuff on the buyer side, I highly suggest going to these classes. I'm going to be there myself. And get the marketing out you can, whether or not you use the marketing within command or whether you're using a version that you create. Finding out how to get these marketing are great for picking up buyers through Facebook, through Instagram, Pinterest. I started doing Pinterest. I haven't gotten anything off of it, but feel free to reach out to me if you want any updates. I'll let you know what's working and what's not. That's about it, guys. Thank you so much for coming. I hope this was informative, and you can always reach out to me, darciebarton@gmail.com. If you would like an email, I can reply back. I can give you some of these templates that you can take a look at. I hope everyone has a great day. Take care.
Thank you. You as well.
Bye-bye.